What, I know this is a time of your life you probably thought about off and on, but what kind of told you this was the right time to make this decision?
Boy, it is something I've been thinking about for a couple of years, actually. And as I've gotten older, I know this is a job, this is a career, and a lifestyle that takes a great deal of energy every day, and mental and physical energy. And I've had to be very honest with myself and ask if I could keep putting into the effort, putting in the effort that the job requires to do it well. And so some days I feel, you bet, let's get after it, let's bring it. And then other days, that just wasn't as consistent as it used to be. So I thought now there is some leadership changes going on at ESU, and thought for myself, for the coaches, and the department, that this would probably be the right time to do that.
Joe, Laney?
When you mentioned talking with coaches, were there any conversations beforehand to let them know that this was going to happen, or were they kind of taken back?
Well, I think everyone knew that that this was eventually going to happen, whether it would be this summer or next summer or the summer after that. When actually the last two coaches that I hired, Craig Doty and Toby Wynn, as we went through that process, they were curious as to how long I would be in this position, and it's been 5 years, 4 years or so, and so there. I don't think it's a shock to anyone, but it was just something that as we changed presidents in the fall, and I've had a chance to talk with our current president, Ken Hush, and like I said, being honest with myself, that probably a game that I played better 23 years ago than what I can play now.
Joe, you good? Laney?
Here we go. Sorry, it's taking me forever to unmute. Well, first of all, congrats on retiring.
Thank you.
Just what are you going to miss the most about being so involved in Florida State athletics?
Wow. Many things. Working with the coaches and the student athletes and being part of this team environment, preparing for game day, the excitement of game days, and all that brings, and the uncertainty that happens when you don't know you're going to win the game, you don't know you're going to lose, and so that excitement is there all the time. That's and the people and the relationships, the student athletes. The one of the things that I've really appreciated, the coaches have allowed me to be a part of their programs, and I get to come in the locker room at times, and I get to come out to practice, and I get to know the student athletes, and I've done that for 20 some years. We're recruiting some of the kids of our former student athletes that played here when I was first arrived. So that's a real tough thing to leave behind. But you can't only do in a career. You can't only do the things you like. You got to do the things that need to be done. So, but I'm sure I'll miss that the most.
Yeah. And are there any memories or stories that have just really become some of your favorite stories over the years?
Boy, you give me that again. My hearing, you can tell my hearing's going bad too. Give me that question again.
No, it's okay. We'll just blame Zoom. Are there any memories or stories that you have while you were at AZ that have just become really your favorite memories?
There will be. There are hundreds and thousands of joyful moments that I've had, and tearful moments, and where we fought through things together, and winning games are one thing. That's one part of it. But, the other good things that college athletics does, and you feel so good about, I'll have a chance to reminisce and to think about those as time goes on. But collectively, it's been, all of them are great.
No, congrats again.
Thank you.
Zach?
Congrats on your retirement. I got kind of a two-pronged question for you. Just in your time in the profession of being director of athletics, how has that profession changed? And then how has Emporia State specifically changed from when you started to how you're leading?
So the first part of the question again was how have
How has the profession changed since you started as the athletics director?
tons of different ways. Collegiate athletics, of course, when I got here, I don't know that there was social media. I don't know that there was the instant communication and things that you have now, and that student athletes were able to, and students, everyone has an opportunity to kind of create their own brand and their own stuff. That's been a double-edged sword. As we've all seen, that you got to use those things carefully. So that was certainly one, and I think the involvement of parents, honestly, is a different. There's a different feel. Now I'm going back probably pre-ESU days too, back in the 80s and 90s, that you didn't hear much from parents. You didn't deal much with parents of student athletes, and so that has I've had to learn to deal with that and find that line that student athletes are adults, but yet their families are still an important part of their lives, and so that's been an adjustment, I think, in the profession that we've had to look at, and that will continue. Give me the second part of your question. Then was.
Yeah, how is it Emporia State?
Specifically, how is Emporia State changed?
Changed under your lead? Kind of what are you most proud of?
Specifically, how has Emporia State changed in
Oh.
23 years? And then what are you most proud of during that?
Gotcha. Boy, the change, I think when we look at 1999, it's really hard to go back to that time. I think Emporia State was still, even though we had joined the NCAA some 8 years earlier, there was still a transition. We didn't have many full-time coaches. We had coaches and teachers. And administrators. There weren't many. There's not many now. There's 6 of us, but we didn't have a separate compliance, a director of compliance. And we didn't have. We relied on the foundation for fundraising, and ticket sales was done through the Memorial Union, and so we've grown. A lot of that through a lot of that, the NCAA changes have we need to have a senior woman administrator, and so we were fortunate to get a grant to open that position up, and there's only been 3 people that have had that job since 1999, and that's Carmen Leeds and Christy Beyer and now Aaron Michaelby. So. Just the feel of the athletics department going from NAIA to NCAA was maybe not quite completed in '99, and so we've done that. Now we've got full-time coaches and full-time assistant coaches, and just a lot different than what it was back then.
And what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Boy, that's a big one, Don. You, yeah, you guys ask it. we've done all of this. There's 5 principles that I've talked about since day one that I had on my resume that I think college athletics should do, and in no particular order. You've got to be a good front door to the university. You've got to follow the rules. You've got to be fiscally responsible. You've got to enhance the educational experience of student athletes, and you've got to field competitive teams. And you have to keep all of those in balance, because if you're doing one and not the other 4, that's not going to take you very far. So, just collectively, I think we've done this, the right way, the responsible way. We've given opportunities to young men and women to compete in athletics that maybe otherwise wouldn't have a chance to go to college. So there really isn't. The wins and losses are that's the easy one to say, yeah, those were the most fun, and I'm sure proud of being a part of those. But I just think the overall culture and mission of the athletics department is strong and something I'm very proud of, and am confident will continue.
Coach Doty, for you, Kent Weiser's the guy who hired you. What has he meant to you in helping get this program headed in the right direction?
Kent, after we won a national championship at Graceland University, I applied for this position, and Kent brought me in for an airport interview in Kansas City, and we went out to the airport, and I met with Don Wiest as well and Christy Beyer, and we had about a 3-hour conversation, and he gave me a call and offered me the job a few days later, and it changed my life at that time. And my family came here. My wife was pregnant with our first daughter at the time, and now 4 years later, we have 4 kids running around the house, sabotaging things, and in a positive way, of course. But along the way, being with Kent, it's meant the world. He's such a servant leader. He's all about other people. Every day, he shows up to work and tries to find ways to help student athletes and coaches. And when you work for somebody who has the professionalism of Kent and who cares about people like Kent, it just allows you to enjoy your days more. It knows you're in good hands. And really it establishes a culture within the athletic department that's so positive. We're not the most resource-driven department in the MIAA. But coaches come here and they love being here, and it's because of Kent Weiser and what he's built and what the day-to-day is like within his department. So it's a blessing. Kent not only cared for my family and helped bring us here, but through us having these children and my wife, coming to games, Kent would see her carrying the kids in from a distance and in the cold weather, and this is how caring he is. He would set up a parking spot for my wife when she was pregnant and carrying a child with, to make sure she could get into White Auditorium more easily and doesn't have to walk down alleys and in dark areas and cold areas. So that's just another example. He would bring our kids over to pick blueberries, and he doesn't have to be the athletic director for that. We'll still go over to his house as he grows blueberries. And Ken has 2 daughters, so he did it for his little girls when they were little, and he just remembers their faces and how they'd light up, and they would eat the blueberries and they'd have it all over their mouth. And so he allows my kids to go over there, and they just have an absolute blast at Kent. So he's an awesome human being. He's a great professional, and wow, are we going to miss Kent Weiser.
Upper right, Joe, do you have anything for Coach?
Yeah, I got one question. So, like you said, you spoke with him, he's your mentor, everything like that. Were you given a heads up of this decision? I know he said not really, but it was kind of expected, but we didn't know when it was going to be official. So, yeah, what was the feeling like when you first found out and had a little time to kind of absorb it all?
Well, if Kent's going to be in a suit for this and be cleanly shaven, I would have been as well. You can see I haven't shaved my face since we lost in the MIAA tournament. I was not expecting to talk with you guys today. I was not expecting for this announcement to take place. You know, we were hoping Kent had a couple years left, and I think, you know, when you're a coach, you always want to work for the athletic director who hires you. Now, with that being said, Kent knows himself and this university better than anybody. And if he has a feeling that perhaps he doesn't have the energy he wants to give, then he knows when it's time. So I'm not going to question the timing of it. You know, for us, I'm just so appreciative. I'm just so thankful. And you know, he said it in an article that was in the Emporia Gazette. He said that the best is yet to come. And that's a credit to him and the foundation that's been laid here. And we're going to take all the positives that Kent put forward in this athletic department, and then we're going to double it down by bringing in new energy to continue to progress what he started, what he pushed forward, and all the agenda items that single-handedly benefit student athletes on a day-to-day basis. So Kent not only you know, provided an incredible 20-plus years for us, but his legacy will continue moving forward long after retirement is over.
Good. Lane?
Yeah, I just want to ask, like, how different do you think it's going to be without him?
It's going to be different without Kent. I don't. You can't replace a Kent Weiser. You know, when you talk about somebody who understands Emporia State, somebody that has a heart the size of Texas, somebody who every day just provides servant leadership. But even without him here in the building every single day, you know, what he's helped establish from a foundational perspective will continue on, and it will benefit all student athletes and coaches.
Good. Zach?
Coach, tell me, from your perspective and you work in other athletic departments, how important is you know, the athletic director's role, especially with like the environment that they create in their leadership, to you know, your job as a coach, and guiding players to have success on the court, and how did you just talk about how Kent was as an athletic director?
Well, first off, Zach, congratulations to you on your new position that you're going to be going to Manhattan. Is that correct? I saw. We will miss you. You are an incredible writer and storyteller, and I'm going to continue to follow your work. So thank you for. I'm upset we had to share you with high school so much this year because you were elite, and we'd rather have you in our place. But I understand how the markets work. I guess we have to share Laney too. So, you know, and with Washburn, unfortunately. But no. To answer your question, Kent, in terms of what an athletic director provides, specifically Kent. We went through in year 2 here a lot of hardships. Our only returning starter tore his Achilles tendon. Brendan Van Dyke tore his knee out, and Dallas Bailey broke his foot. And all 3 required season-ending surgeries to upperclassmen starters. And we started the year off 9-5 overall and finished 1-13 in the last 14 games. And of course, you know, I'm the kind of coach who nobody's going to put pressure on me the way that I'm going to put on myself and hold myself accountable. And I had an athletic director in Kent Weiser who would come in and talk to me frequently and just assure me that everything is good. Just stick to your vision, stick to your plan. We trust you, we appreciate you, and we believe in you. And 2 years later, we have the first 20-win season in 13, 14 seasons here. We break the record for the school for most MIAA wins in a season. And I go back to the tough times, the lean year that we went through with the injuries and the hardships. And I remember what Kent said, and I remember how he made me feel on a daily basis as a coach who felt like every time I put a product on a court, he knew and we weren't used to losing. I'd never been through losing seasons before. So, he almost laughed. He almost got me to a point where of relaxation through, hey Craig, this is the MIAA. This is, if something goes wrong, it's probably going to go wrong because, and you can't recover from it. The league is just too good. You're in the growing process. You'll be okay. And I figured at some point I'd have to have this conversation because you don't know how to lose. You haven't done it yet. So Kent taught me how to lose, and he also taught me not to continue to do it. So no, he got me through some really difficult times. He stuck by my side, and he took what was a lot of pressure I put on myself, and he minimized it. And that's just a small indication of who he is. This is what he does for all of our coaches. This is what he does for our student athletes. He puts us in the best position to succeed with the resources that we have. And we are going to miss this man, and we are just so thankful and gracious for the time we had with him here at Emporia State. But, hey, we're going to get him driving the bus. We're going to get him doing stuff. He's coming back. He's got season tickets for life. He's going to be in the crowd. Kent's a part of ESU forever, so he knows that, and we're going to see him often.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Great. Well, I'll ask you the same question I asked Coach Doty. What has Kent Weiser meant to you in developing the Emporia State football program to where it is now?
Well, he gave me my, I look at Kent in a lot of different ways. First, he gave me my first opportunity to be the head coach at my alma mater. He's extremely loyal. He is, to me, he's well respected, not only here at this university, but well respected throughout the conference. He is the thing that, to me, is the most impressive thing with him is that, he's always going to be able to put, or he always would put the student athlete and their success at the forefront, and coaches too. He let us coach, but while at the same time, was very supportive, and he's somebody that I could lean on at any time, and he has been my boss for 16 years. He's been my mentor for 16 years, but at the same time, he's a very good friend of mine, and that's what he means to me. I mean, he is a good person, so I'm going to miss him, but at the same time, I'm going to wish him nothing but the best. He just, he taught me a lot. He really did, and he is very supportive, like I said. I mean, it's wins and losses are definitely important to him. But if you just go back and look at his track record, I mean, he's hired great coaches here, great people. He's also, Division II athletics is very complex. There's a lot of different things you got to navigate through, and with things changing, and then also going through the COVID year, and he just I felt like he did a great job of leading us through those times.
Joe?
All right, and then I'll ask the same question. Were you anticipating this at all? What was it like when you first found out? I mean, were there any discussions one-on-one that brought you to this conclusion that this might happen?
Not discussions one-on-one. I think that once I felt like it, maybe at some point, there's always a time for somebody to walk off into the sunset, I guess you might say. But I guess, I was surprised a little bit, but at the same time, I become very close to Kent through my time here. And, at the end of the day, I want what's best for him, and what's best for what he wants to go and enjoy. He's earned that. So, I thought it may come. I just maybe didn't think it would come this soon, but I thought, it's down the road. There's that it's going to happen here probably within the next 2 years, maybe is what I thought,
Lady? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And I was going to follow up. Just like Coach Doty, he shared a bunch of stories and anything like that. Was there anything that also you remember that happened that you are going to always remember about him, or something that stands
Well, I think that you're you always tend to remember the big wins, I guess. And I first want to start the first day that he gave me a call to tell me that I had the job here. I remember that just like it was yesterday, to be honest with you. And coming back to the place where I got my career started, where I was a player at, I remember I had to pull off to the side of the road to gather my emotions, and him just give me that call and say, hey, want to offer you the head football job. And then other things that I remember just are genuinely his excitement when we, I remember going to Minnesota State and winning on the road. I think we won 52-51. And, Kent's been very, I think in this day and age with athletic directors, there's a lot of impatience that you see out there. And I think that's one of the things you got to look at with Kent Weiser is that, and I look at my own experience, him being patient with me and then to have everything kind of come full circle to where, we win a playoff game. We win our first bowl game in 2012 to go to the postseason. Then we go to the playoffs in 2013, and then 2015 we have that big win, our first big playoff win on the road at Minnesota State, who had played for the national championship the year before, and just seeing his expression, his smiling face, and how excited that he was. Not for himself, but really for us. And like I said, him putting student athletes first and putting coaches first. So those are that's what I remember. And he never liked to play golf that much, but daggum, I tell you what, he made you really feel like he made me wonder why I played golf in the summer, because he would never play, and then all of a sudden he'd go out and hit it straight down the fairway and make putts, and here I am during the summer. That's my time to play a little bit, playing a lot more than him, and he's just, that's impressive. So, like I said, I've developed a really good friendship with Kent, and man, just been through a lot. A lot of tears, a lot of excitement, and we'd pop a few tops. I could tell a lot of stories through the years that I've been through with him.
Okay. Good joke, Laney? Good. Jack?
Could you just kind of talk about how Kent was kind of as a leader and how maybe he and how were you and how that maybe transferred to wins on the field?
Can you say that again, Zach?
Yeah, you kind of broke up a little bit.
My internet's spotty here. Could you talk about how Kent is as a leader and how his leadership style, I guess, empowered you as a coach, and
Yeah.
how that helped you to feel like get wins on the field?
Well, as you know, there's different leadership styles, and I think the biggest thing, and I said earlier, is that he let his coaches coach. He hired coaches here. He hired us, and then, I don't want to say he necessarily got out of the way, but he let us do what we needed to get done. And I think, that's one of the things that he taught me, was that you don't necessarily have to be hands-on all the time. Let your assistants, let the guys that work with you, let them do their job. And that's, to me, and I think a lot of coaches, they aren't able to say that because, there's always somebody, trying to interfere or trying to tell you what to do, this, that, or the other, and who to recruit. And, hey, somebody told me about this kid over here. You need to recruit him. No, Kent did not do that. He might bring it to my attention. Hey, I got this email. Do with it what you want, Garin. And that's what I always respected. And I think that it made not only myself but my staff, really appreciate that and work extremely hard.